Hello and welcome to another segment with the Kenyan team. I am Wanjari Nderu. Today we are honored to have Miriam, the founder of New Life Home Nyambene, which is a charity that caters to orphans and street children, abandoned children, and it is based in Maua Meru. Hi Miriam, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
So, who are you? Who's Miriam?
Miriam Westendarp. I was a teacher and now I'm retired.
You're retired?
Yes.
And now your passion is kids?
I was while I was a teacher. My passion was children then because that's why I was teaching.
Right, so it continues today.
Yes.
That's wonderful. So what are you doing in Kenya?
So in 2000 I came to Kenya for an unrelated visit and I saw some street children and that was very distressing. And when I went home, it was just 14 boys. And we had expected to see some street children, so we'd packed some t-shirts. But when I saw the eagerness with which these children ran and took the t-shirts, I felt a very deep shame. And I thought, a t-shirt, that's nothing. And I went home and found sponsors, very kind people who just took me right from the beginning, from nothing, to send those boys to school.
Okay, and you set up here in Maua?
Yes.
And you started with 14 boys, but how many have you had so far?
Well, very quickly I thought, boys, I want girls too. So when by the time we had a building here in Maua, we had a boys' dormitory and a girls' dormitory, and the boys' dormitory housed 19 boys then, and the girls' dormitory had 18 girls.
Okay, so what is it that when you take these kids, when they come to the home, what happens? Take us through the journey of from the time they come out to the time that they leave.
So our children are each with their individual story. Some were literally invited in off the street. Others have come from impoverished families who've been subject to brutalized treatment. They all have deep trauma and they have come to us through all sorts of different ways at different ages. Some have come to us as old as 13, 14, others as little as 3. The young man who is currently graduating as a clinical officer, he's graduated last October as a clinical officer, came to us when he was 3, and he's now add 3 and 22.
Right.
So he's a 25-year-old man now and with a wonderful career ahead of him.
Oh, that's lovely. So they come in, you educate them through school?
Yes.
All the way past university?
The real passion that we have is that we're not just feeding a body and putting it through school. We want to create a life. So, not create a life, there is a life. We want to enable that life to develop to its own fullest potential. So, whatever they're like when they come to us, they go through school and then we find out what their desire is, what they want to do, and we choose those courses with them. And then when they finish their course, some of them for a degree, others for an artisan or a diploma, whatever they can achieve, then we give them 3 months of upkeep after they graduate. And then after that, we expect them to have found independence and to be able to live on their own.
Okay. I'm sure the journey has not been easy.
No.
No. Would you like to talk to us about that?
We started by very much trusting the first man I knew, Ambrose Gichungi, who was with us until we realized his true colors in 2015. But actually from much earlier than that, I understand that he was betraying these children so he would send us their exam results and we would think they're getting D's and E's, why is this? And he would say to us, well, they're on the streets, they're sniffing glue, their brains have been spoilt, you can't expect more. But then afterwards I discovered that he'd been denying the girls sanitary protection, or he had been, when they were coming up to their exams, he was taking their uniform away so that one way or another they wouldn't get the schooling at the key moments when they needed it. So he was setting them up to fail. And I'm not quite sure why anyone would do that to their own children, but it meant that there became among the children quite a culture of despair and not feeling that it was worth working hard.
Yeah, it must be painful. We met.
Very painful, because 6,000 miles away as we are, we have to trust people.
Yeah.
And we trusted the wrong person there.
Yeah, well, we're sorry for that on behalf of all Kenyans.
No, there are many, many people we could have trusted. We just
trusted the wrong one.
We trusted the wrong one.
So we met the kids, some of the kids today, adults in college, and also the little ones.
Yes.
And they call you Mom.
They call me Mum.
Yeah, I found that so sweet. All of them, even the adults.
It chokes me up.
You know?
Absolutely chokes me up.
And we also noted that they're calling each other my brother, my sister.
They are a family.
So
yes.
It took a while before we realized, oh, it's because they lived together all these years.
Yeah.
That they're calling each other my brother this, my brother that.
And what thrills me is that when they come through, the older ones are saying, when I get my job, when I manage to earn money, I want to help others as I have been helped, and they want to bring their brothers and sisters up to the places that they have reached, and that is a joy, because that's the whole point. It's to create out of despair to enable them to build their own generosity and family love.
Yeah. So in 2015, when you found out that the home was being mismanaged and that the kids were not in a good place, and a decision was made to replace the bishop, who was a bishop then, Ambrose.
What name?
Something happened to the kids, you lost some. What happened?
I was 6,000 miles away. I heard the stories, and I was suddenly contacted regularly with the difficulties. For me, in England, first of all, it broke my heart. It broke my heart because I felt that I had tried to bless people, and in fact they had been damaged. And he'd changed their names, as you've heard, and I could not believe it. And I was so deeply repentant in my own heart that I had caused harm where I'd meant to partner with God and with good people here to create something good. And it was a devastating year, devastating. In particular because he had changed their name, so I lost track of who had been chased away and who was still there. And we have tried to find out. The team here have done some searching. Some have gone back to the streets, just one or two. Others have survived, and it's been wonderful, and others are flourishing. But the difficulty was how to get the sponsors in the UK, because I'm not rich, we're not rich. The sponsors aren't rich, but they love the children. And so they give sacrificially, and we're fundraising all the time. But to fundraise successfully, you have to have a story that people want to fund. So when we had Ambrose's desperate betrayal, our real challenge was that if all the funders say, oh, no, that one won't go, and stop funding us, every child would have been back on the street or back in their poverty. So we had an extremely difficult time getting all sorts of new good things in place, safety for the children, a team of wonderful staff members who looked after them, who brought them to a better place, and who managed to conceal that from Ambrose. I remember writing him emails that were trying to keep him thinking we were supporting him until the moment when we could actually say, actually we're withdrawing from you because we think you have behaved in a way that is morally unacceptable and we cannot have anything further to do with you. And by that time, the children were safe. And then I could tell the sponsors and all our funders, and we kept most of them. We did lose some, but we kept most, and now we're doing so much better that when we get the land back, we will have everything we need to get more funding.
Yeah, and speaking of the land, we visited it, and it's heartbreaking, but it looked like in its good days, it was an amazing home for the kids.
It was a wonderful home for the children because they had a big dining room, they had this large, beautiful dormitory, and for both of them they had a kitchen. We had the play area, and we had our own water supply. And my husband Charles had come. He was an architect. He died sadly, but he was an architect, and he designed, and we built a stone building, and we were going to, the vision was that we were going to educate our own children by starting classes, so polytechnic type classes there that they could, if they wanted to, they could engage in. And then ultimately we would be able to invite other children, and from local areas, if they wanted, we would be running good courses in car mechanics and in dressmaking, in hairdressing. And there was a good charity in the UK called I can't remember the name, it'll come to me in a moment, but it collected tools and renovated them and then shipped them out to countries all over the world, and they sent a container of tools for us. And so we had sewing machines, we had mechanics tools, we had carpentry tools, hairdressing equipment, all here, and it's all gone, it's all been stolen. So the vision will come back. The vision will come back. It's still there. It's still there.
When you get your land back.
When we get the land back, it will be wonderful.
You know, and I'm sure it breaks your heart where the children are now.
It's hard to bear because some of them have never seen our land as it was. And I know in Kenya how important land is. If you have a family or brothers and sisters, you want to have a place where you can put your feet down and say, these are my roots, this is my home. And for our children particularly, who've been thrown off their family land or who have never known what their family land was, this was their land. And when they come back to it, we will rejoice, because now they have no grass, no greenery to play. It's difficult to keep them safe because there's not the space. We have a great team doing their very best for them. They're all safe, but it's not good enough, and it's not theirs.
Yeah, you know, one of the cases that I touched on, so that I you know, to engage with the home, was of a young girl who was a witness to the murder of her mother by the father.
Oh yes.
And
yes,
she was safe in the compound.
Yes.
On the land, but now she's, you know, where the children are living. Her, you know, there are other people there, so accessing her is easy. So security also becomes.
Security is vital. Because of the stories that they have. Yeah. We will have so much more that we can give them when they are back where they belong and where they began.
But at least you're not giving up. What's keeping you going? Most people would say, I won't do this anymore, but you're here.
Once or twice at home, I thought, if I lose all the funding, I can't keep it up. But every time I've just cried out to God, and God loves this work so much more than I do. His passion for this place, for this country, for this land, for these children, his passion is so much greater than mine. I'm just piggybacking on the love of Jesus for this place. And when I have been tempted to give up, to fail, I've just known that you can't fail with God. And so why would you ever give up when there's God who's doing this for them?
Wow, that's encouraging, considering the drama you've had to deal with. And, you know, stories like yours are never told enough. because there are very few people who put themselves out there to do good for others. And the fact that you're not even giving up and knowing the children you still have your children. Every time we talk, I call them my children. And it's so sweet seeing how you're all like one big family.
We're different colours, but we're the same family.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
So we really wish you the best as
Thank
Kenyan. We feel the pain of this
Thank
story,
you.
and
Yeah.
we feel it's important for people to know about it. And as much as we've seen how the systems in this country work, including the court systems and all that, you not giving up really is encouraging, even for the kids.
How can you give up? Because if you give up, what have the children got? You cannot give up on a life.
Yeah.
You could possibly give up on a work project, you could give up on a career, but you cannot give up on a life.
Yeah.
You can't.
So what are your plans moving forward? What are you planning to do?
Wow. Well, once there's the land, then we've only got 24 children now. We can have more children. We can build a facility again. We have Patrick Mwenda, who in 3 years' time will be able to open a clinic of his own. We love the thought that Kenyans in their own country are taking ownership of this project. Why should you be run from the UK? These are your children, this is your place, this is your land. So the more we can partner with our dear friends and our trusted partners and staff here, the more this can become a Kenyan thing and reach out into society and build a greater part of the kingdom of God for Kenya going forward. We will become less and you will become more.
Wow. That's encouraging, even to us who are feeling sad about this whole story. So it was lovely spending the day with you.
It's been my privilege.
It's unfortunate what has happened, but I believe that when the community even comes together, things will speed along, and you'll get your children's
We'll get our
home
dream.
back.
Yes.
Yeah.
There will be rejoicing on that day.
All right. So thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
time. It was a pleasure being with you today. Thank you so much for being with us again. And we look forward to doing more stories, more human interest stories, and for you to learn more about the good things people are doing out there. See you next time. Goodbye.